For the last 5 years, we've been generating leads online using Facebook ads. Now, traditionally, we've always sent Facebook traffic from an ad to a funnel that we have built, which is designed to convert a visitor into a lead. This is also known as an opt-in page or a squeeze page. And this still works great. But what we've seen, especially over the last sort of 2 years with the ever-rising cost of Facebook advertising and CPM, or cost per thousand impressions on Facebook, is that it's becoming more and more expensive to actually capture a lead. So, what are the benefits of using an external page to run Facebook ads? Well, the main one is intent. If a person is willing to click on an ad, leave Facebook, go away from Facebook, read copy, willingly type in their name and email and potentially phone number, that person is way more likely to be a customer. There is way more intent in all of those actions, which means they have qualified themselves much more than if they didn't. The alternative way of doing this over the last sort of 5 years has been using Facebook instant forms or Facebook lead forms. Traditionally, we never used to use lead forms because the quality of the lead was so bad. So I had to shoot this video because I see so many people out there, these so-called Facebook experts on YouTube, talking about it and telling people like you to use them to create leads to generate business without really explaining the pros and cons. They're also telling people to do it the wrong way, which is the worst part. So I want to break down the pros and cons of using lead forms in 2023 and how you can use them to generate more qualified, that's the key word, leads for your business. So what's the main problem with Facebook lead forms? Let's talk about the psychology of what's going on when someone sees an ad that is attached to a lead form. For those of you guys that don't know, these ads show a form within Facebook automatically when you click on the ad. One of the main reasons why it's preferred to use Facebook lead forms is that it's cheaper to do so. On average, it costs less to generate a lead using a Facebook lead form than sending someone to a squeeze page or an opt-in page to give you their information. That's because on Facebook, using the lead form, it's cheaper. But why is that? Well, it's actually quite simple. You see, Facebook's number one priority above everything else is average user duration. How long on average their users stay on the platform. So whenever you're sending a Facebook user from an ad to your landing page, in Facebook's mind, you are stealing their user. So they're going to charge you more for this. Immediately, your CPM or cost per thousand impressions will be higher. When using lead forms to generate leads, you're effectively capturing a lead on Facebook without asking that user to leave. So Facebook will charge you way less for this, which is why traditionally you will always see a lower CPM or cost per thousand impressions when using a lead form. Now on the surface, that might seem like it's a good thing, but going back to the psychology of intent, when using lead forms to capture a lead and get a prospect to qualify themselves, there is not much intent in the action. Think about it. They see an ad, they click on it, a form pops up and their info is pre-populated and they click submit. Then they're back on Facebook because they haven't left and they're scrolling through their feed and getting lost. Their attention is now gone. Also, we found that the data that you capture can be bad. Because they are pre-populated, you have a good chance of getting old dormant email addresses, for example. I mean, do you still use your Facebook email address? I set up my Facebook account when I was 18 years old, and I haven't used studmuffin86@hotmail.com in a very long time. Do you get my point? And I see everyone talking about Facebook lead forms. Yeah, Facebook lead forms are great because you can get cheap leads. But what they're forgetting is that because they're not doing it in the first way, sending them away and making them qualify themselves by increasing the intent that someone has to get there, the lead that they are capturing is not qualified. Let's walk through why. Facebook lead forms are great, and we have used them a ton to literally generate hundreds of thousands of leads over the years. But you have to increase intent. And there's a few ways to do it on the lead form itself. Number one, You can make the form a higher intent form. What this does is it adds an extra step to the process, making the user check their details. Number 2, you can input lots of different custom fields and different questions into the Facebook lead form. You can have multiple choice questions, open-ended questions where they fill in a short answer. You can have logic built into those answers where if they don't say one thing, you can do another. This is good because anytime you are getting them to do something, you are qualifying them that little bit more. You are increasing intent. Someone who's not really interested isn't going to go through the hassle of filling in this information and answering these questions. But here is the most important thing by far, and this is what I've seen nobody talking about, and it blows my mind. There are, these so-called agency owners out there that are teaching people how to do this on Facebook and not mentioning this next massive thing. This thing is by far the most important part of the whole strategy. Think about it. We've now paid Facebook once they've completed the form, right? And once completed, you get a thank you page on that form where you have the ability to write a headline, more copy, and add a button to call them to action to do something. Now, normally, people either just don't utilize this part at all, or they put a button that just links to their website. Waste of time. We have now paid Facebook for that lead, which means if we try to take them off of Facebook now, we are not going to pay any more money. We're not going to be penalized as if we were in scenario 1 that I mentioned earlier. We've generated the lead on Facebook, taken advantage of the low CPMs and the low cost per lead. Now we've paid Facebook for that. We can now send them wherever we want. And this is the most powerful part. So on the thank you page of the lead form, it looks a little bit like this, as you can see on your screen. And you have a headline there. You can have a brief description, basically selling the next thing you want them to do. So for example, let's say that I'm an accountant and I've just run a lead magnet form offering a lead magnet called 5 ways to save money on your tax return. Someone has downloaded that, leaving their details and their phone details, for example. They've answered a couple of questions and they've pressed submit. I've got that lead. I've paid Facebook at that point. They're going to now see the thank you page of the form. Now, this person, first of all, is qualified because the lead magnet has done a great job. And I've got a whole video on lead magnets, and I'll put a link to it in the description. So make sure you go and check that out because it's a very, very important part of this process as well. Effectively, why would somebody that's not interested in hiring an accountant download a lead magnet called 5 ways to save money on your tax return? They probably wouldn't. They're probably a good lead just for that reason. But now that I've paid Facebook, I now want to get them off of Facebook. I want them to be in my world, my environment, my website, my learning page, my sales page. So I might have a page in my business on my website where there's a video of me and a presentation that I've put together that is 30 minutes long. It's going to break down in more detail these 5 ways to save money on your tax return. But at the end of that video, I'm going to call them to action to book a consultancy call with me, for example, right? Or a discovery call or something like that. Now, what is this video doing? What is this call doing? That call is offering someone to move into what we call sales environments. Now, there are loads of different sales environments in different types of businesses, and we have to get someone in the right sales environment to make a sale. Facebook, we've just generated the lead. We have them on email. Email is not a great sales environment. It's a great marketing tool to move people down into sales environment, but it's not a good sales environment. What we want is the person actually speaking with us, communicating with us, consuming material, qualifying themselves, increasing intent, and doing something to put themselves in a sales environment like booking a call to speak to us. Does that make sense? So by taking them from Facebook to a video offering a call, we are now going to start actually converting some of these leads that we've captured for cheap immediately into good sales conversations. And this is where business is made. My business does not make sales by spending thousands of pounds capturing email addresses. It's by having meaningful sales conversations with highly qualified prospects. What we have to do is get people in front of our offers so that we can make a sale, whether they're made on the phone, in person, at an event, on a webinar, whatever it is. Our job, once we've captured the lead, is to move those prospects into a sales environment where they have the opportunity to buy, because that's the only way that they're going to get a return on our ad spend. So on the thank you page of this form that we're talking about now, what I'm going to say is something like, congrats, that worked. The lead magnet is on its way. While I've got you, check out this free 30-minute training that I've just made for you. We'll teach you in more detail about the 5 ways to save money on your tax return. Simply click the button at the bottom of this page and watch the video now. This button now becomes one of the most valuable buttons in this whole strategy, because this is going to be sending free traffic. You've already captured the lead. Why are we just going to say thank you? Go and check your email. Nobody's going to check their email. Out of 1,000 leads that you generate, maybe 50% of them are going to check that first email. And then after that, it's just the law of diminishing returns until you have an average open rate on your emails of between 20 and 30%. But while we have 100% of your leads' attention, we might as well make them an offer to move into a sales environment, because it's going to be the only time where you have 100% of your lead's attention. Please listen to that again. The thank you page of your lead form or your opt-in page, wherever it is, the thank you page, the page after someone gives you their information, is the only page where 100% of your leads give you their attention. After that, it's a massive law of diminishing returns. So you have to make the most of this opportunity. You have to take full advantage of that attention and make them an offer to move into a sales environment. So let's now run a little scenario. Let's say this button sends them to a video. Let's say 40% of people actually click on that button to go and watch your video. And let's say 40% of those people actually watch the video, and then 20% of those then go through and book a call. Now you've actually got sales opportunities coming in immediately from your leads in the same half an hour. You're not waiting. It's been done on autopilot because that's the way you've set it up. Thinking about lead forms as a way of generating leads on Facebook like this is great. First of all, you're taking advantage of the low CPMs that Facebook will give you if you decide to use lead forms or instant forms as your advertising objective, and not conversions, for example, while you're sending those users to your website. This is great, don't get me wrong. We still run 50% of our clients' campaigns to an external sales page or opt-in page, right? But again, overall, results of lead forms can be great. It's a great place to start because you can get cheap leads by doing lead forms. In all honesty, there is 0 point in doing it unless you're doing it the way that I've just told you. Because if you're going to end up with a load of email addresses and a load of people on your email list who never open your emails, they didn't increase because you didn't increase the intent when they joined your list. They did it very, very quickly. There's a very high percentage chance that their information is wrong and they will never open an email from you anyway. Although you might be getting £1 leads and $1 leads, without sales, it really don't mean shit. And that's it for this video. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I really hope that that was valuable. Remember, if you are going to think about using lead forms like all of these so-called Facebook experts out there tell you, remember to think about it strategically. There's no point in generating a cheap lead if that person is never going to buy. So make sure you utilize that beautiful thank you page on the lead form properly. And then at that point, send them to your website where you can make them an offer to move into a sales environment. Listen, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. We release 2 new videos every single week. And please leave me a comment with your thoughts about this video in the comments below, and I promise I'll get back to you. Don't forget to check out the video on lead magnets, which you can find right now or in a minute somewhere around my head. And my name's Matt Wilson. I'll see you in the next video.